Hello everybody, you are watching CAD Roll Hunter and I am back with another box of Canadian $2 coins, Toonies. Hello again, it's James and you're watching my channel CAD Roll Hunter, and that's right, I got another box of Toonies. I had kind of sworn off Toonies for a while after having experienced getting a bunch of counterfeits. I was really concerned about getting stuck with a whole box of counterfeits, and I know someone that's actually happened to. But our last hunt, even though we got 12, which is more than I'd received before, I guess I got the Toonie bug again. So I want to see if I can find any colorized Toonies, any low mint Toonies, any errors or varieties, those sorts of things. So the Canadian Toonie, if you're not aware, it's this bimetallic $2 coin. And why do we call it the Toonie? Well, we call it the Toonie because our $1 coin, which I have right here, features a common loon, and we call it the loonie because, well, we're creative like that. So a $2 coin should obviously be called a Toonie. Well, I gotta say, at least we didn't call it the berry. It features a polar bear. In any case, it's bimetallic. It is brass-plated steel. The original Toonies were actually bronze-plated nickel. These are now cheaper to produce, and we're going to be looking to see if we can find any old ones in really nice condition. And of course, I haven't been able to find a colorized Toonie in a Toonie hunt on my channel yet, but I haven't done very many of them. But I have found some of the 2020 Bill Reed colors before I started publishing on YouTube. So we're going to dig in here, and we're going to see what we can find in 20 rolls, $1,000 of Canadian $2 coins. Roll number one, we've got our first commemorative, a 2015 featuring Canada's first Prime Minister, Sir John A. Macdonald, but right beside it, the next coin in the roll is a 2019. I'm going to pull aside all of our 2019s in the hunt, and at the end, we're going to compare the serrations on the side. We want to see if we've got 16 serrations, that is a rare variety, or 14, which is common for this year. It's really hard to count all the serrations on the side. There's like, if I get them close enough or try to focus it in, you can see there's serrated edge, and then a smooth edge. So you want to count these serrations. It's really hard to do. The easier thing to do, of course, is just to compare a bunch of 2019s and see if there are any that appear to have more. So that's what we'll do at the end. And here's something else we'll be looking for too. On the left, I have a 2012, and it has the updated security features that make them very difficult to counterfeit. We want to find a rarer or less common 2012 that features the old design that I have on the right here, where it says Canada on the top and $2 below. On the other side, the date will be on the top of the 2012, as opposed to on this one, it's on the bottom. So that's what we're going to look for, is a 2012 that doesn't feature these security features. They're harder to come by. Roll number two, and here's another nice one. There's the 2017 featuring the Northern Lights. If we could find the glow-in-the-dark version of this, that would be incredible, but this one's in really nice condition. Roll number four, I've got a 1999 Nunavut commemorative, and you can see it's got some marks on it, and it's kind of a little bit bent out of shape over there. And when the Toonie came out, there were all sorts of rumors and reports that the center ring would just fall out, that the Toonies were a poor design and faulty. And it turned out not to be true, but it didn't stop lots of people from hammering away at them to see if they could get that inner ring out. There's actually a locking mechanism that holds these two pieces together. And so they're put together and then they're stamped with the dies, and the design is put on afterwards. So they're pretty much near impossible to actually pull apart. So the reports of Toonies just falling apart left, right, and center were highly exaggerated, but it didn't stop people from trying to see if they could make it happen with a little bit of extra force. Roll number five, you can see behind this one here, we've got a bunch of shiny new ones in here. That's pretty cool. We might find some color. We might find some of those low mint. We got a 2014 Remembrance commemorative. This is the Wait For Me Daddy, and it features a soldier and their family while he's going off to war. Same roll, we have another Remembrance commemorative. This is the D-Day from 2019, and in great condition, and there is also a colorized version of this that we can be on the lookout for as well, where that helmet has a green enamel. Roll 6, I've got my 1996 under the scope. I always throw them under the scope because there are a bunch of different interesting varieties we can find. The 96s are the most plentiful. 325 million of these were actually struck. What we want to look for on the 96 are a couple of die chips. One that makes it look like there's a cigar coming out of the bear's mouth. Another one that makes it look like he's got a horn on his head. So those are two you can look for. There's another variety where there's no ice detail between the bear's legs, so we want to look for that. On the obverse, there's also a die clash we can look for where the impression of the polar bear is visible in front of the queen. It's really hard in these 1996s because the condition of them is often very poor. The other thing we can look for is that about 10 million of these were struck on foreign planchets. The Canadian government was striking coins for the German government. And so those would look very similar to the Toonie, but they have a darker finish, a more of a matte finish on the outer ring. And you can actually see some lines, like sort of like striations or something like that. So it's really, again, it's harder to tell. The more worn they are, the colors become more dull, the finish becomes more scratched up. But in a newer, uncirculated condition, it's easier to spot those. So we always want to look for those if we can find any in nice condition. And I've just pulled up the Coins in Canada website, which is an excellent resource for anyone wanting to learn more about Canadian coins. And this has great pictures of varieties. So what you can see on the screen here is that German planchet. So you can see those sort of lines from the striking process. And so that is what you want to look for. But again, easier to see on a really new coin. The newer ones, or the Canadian planchet, have a smooth finish. And there is that die chip that they call the horn. So a couple of things to look for, and you want to check out the Coins in Canada website, coinsincanada.com. I am in the very next roll, and I have a 1996 that I just pulled out. And I think, I'll have to look closer, this might be one of those foreign planchets. And just as you look at it, if you can see between the A of Canada and the $2, you can see some of those vertical lines on the face of the coin. And the other thing is that the bear itself has more of a, almost like a proof finish that the German planchet coin featured. I'm going to look at this more closely and see if this is in fact an example of the German planchet. So let me know in the comments if you think this is a possible candidate for that German planchet, or if I'm just seeing things and my eyes are playing tricks on me. Let me know what you think. Roll number 8, we have an War of 1812 commemorative Toonie. Not in great shape. You can see it's got the Ring of Death. This one features a sailing ship, the HMS Shannon. There are a couple of varieties to look for on this one. There's one that's called the extra sail variety. And really what happened in there is that the negative space between two of the sails in the regular version has the same finish as the field behind the boat. Another version they call the extra sail, that negative space actually has more of a, I guess almost like a cameo type frosted finish, as though it's part of the boat design. And so you can find them. I'll put pictures up here so you can see what they look like. It's really hard, if not impossible, to tell what you've got when a coin is as worn as this one, and the you lose that luster. You can't really tell anymore. So we won't know about this one, but you'll be able to see from the pictures what those two varieties look like. If you can find them in great shape, you can look for them. We're on roll number 10, just at about the halfway point, and we hadn't found any counterfeit Toonies yet, and I wondered if we were maybe immune. Well, I just thought about it, and sure enough, here is a counterfeit. We can see it. It's got that look of a brand new Toonie almost. But when I flip it over, this is the 2007, or what's supposed to be a 2007, but this is fake, and you can see that camel toe on the front right paw of that polar bear. But you can see how good a fake this is. I'll have links down below to Brent Mackey's website, cameltoetoonies.ca, where you can learn all about these counterfeits. We're in roll number 11. I got a 2010 here, and I think it might be the less common 14 serration variety. The standard one would have 16. You could count them here if you wanted at the top. It's really hard to do that, so I'll compare at the end against any other 2010s or any other 14 and 16 serration varieties just to see but we might have found the less common variety. Same roll, and we found our first color toonie. It is that 2019 D-Day that we were talking about earlier. Look at that. You can see the words D-Day or Le Jour J with the green helmet in color. That is really cool. We got color in the box. Awesome. Roll number 14, we found the 2006 with a different design of the polar bear. This was to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the toonie, and there was a contest that was held by the Mint to name this polar bear, and it was called Churchill. So there you go. The 2006, it bears the dates 1996 to 2006, commemorating 10 years of the $2 coin. And last coin of that roll, we got our second fake toonie. You can see that camel toe here. This one is the 1996. You can see not a lot of definition on the queen, on the obverse, and that maple leaf at the top is a little wonky. Roll number 15, we're going to have a newer commemorative. We can see that by the obverse. We'll flip it over to see what we got. And so we got our first 2021 insulin with the color. I've never had this, and it's in terrible shape. It's got some environmental damage on there. I don't know if that can be cleaned up or if it should be cleaned up. But I don't have this in my collection, so I am happy to get it. Maybe there's another one in here, maybe one in better condition. But we got more color. That's pretty cool anyhow. And just a couple coins back, we got another fake toonie. I can see by that sort of matte-like finish. It's a 1996. Another one. So that's now 3 for this box so far. We still have another 5.5 rolls to go. Same roll, and we've got a 2000, I can tell by the obverse design here, and I think we have found one of the varieties that we want to be looking for on here. Just with the naked eye, I can see it looks like we've got the pedestal S with a die chip at the base of the S. We'll put it under the scope and we'll take a peek closer. There are a few varieties we can find on here. First, quickly showing the reverse, one of the varieties we can find, and I found before, is what's called the pedestal 0. It's got a little die chip right here on the base of the last 0. But what we want to look on this one is the D in dollars. There's a die chip that we could find on the D, and they call that the pedestal D. But what we've got here, I think, is in fact the pedestal S. We have the die chip at the base of the S. That's a really cool find. It's not in great condition and it's probably not worth much at all, but it's a really cool variety. It's one that is listed in the Charlton Standard Guide, and we found it coin roll hunting. In my last video, we took a look at some coins I got in a trade with one of my subscribers, and a couple of astute viewers noted that the footage showing the half dollars was missing. I'm not exactly sure what happened in the editing. Somehow it made its way to the cutting room floor. It was totally an accident, so I figured we'll just take a second here just to look at the half dollars that I got in that last trade. We'll take a little bit of a pause here. So here's what we got. So this entire roll of half dollars were either S-minted proofs or coins that weren't intended for circulation, often just referred to as NIFCs. So we got a 71S, that was what we saw in the end, the 73, this gleaming 78. Look at that mirror field and that frosted finish. That's amazing. This 1986, this is the centennial of the Statue of Liberty. I'd never seen this one before. Check that out. Really, really cool. That's an S-minted proof half dollar. And then the rest are all not intended for circulation. So the 1987, I've got both the P and the D here, which is really cool. This year, we're just in mint sets. And then everything from 2002 on were not intended for circulation. And there are a whole bunch here. All right up, let's see, I'll go all the way back here. So 2002, 2003, 2005, 6, the P and D. There's a 2010. We've got 2012, 2017, 2018, and a 2021 Philadelphia, which, as I understand it, is actually not an NIFC. Apparently, there are so many of these were made, they were absolutely intending to circulate. That is really, really cool. Roll 16, and we've got the 2017 Remembrance Commemorative of Vimy. Roll 17, and we've got the 2011 Boreal Forest. I just laid out roll number 18. We've got another newer commemorative. Do we have another shot at color? We'll take a peek. And we don't. This one is the 2016. This is the Canadian Navy. So it's not the one that I thought it might be. Another shot at modern Canadian color toonie. Same roll, yet another commemorative. We'll flip it over and see what we've got. This one is a really nice In Flanders Fields with John McCrae. Roll 19, and we've got an absolute stunner. This is that Royal Canadian Navy 2016 in just wonderful condition. Perfect mint condition. Look at that. Same roll. This is turning out to be a really nice roll. Here is that 2008 Quebec City commemorative. That's a nice one as well, and it looks like it'd be in really good condition. You can see the inner ring has faded somewhat, but there is really no circulation wear at all on this coin. It's in lovely shape. We're in the very last roll, number 20, and we've got another really nice 2008 Quebec City commemorative. So I'll pick out the nicest one and see if it upgrades in my collection. We'll see if there's anything else in this roll, and if not, we'll be back with a bit of a wrap-up. Thanks. Well, just 2 coins back and we weren't done. We've got another fake one. This one is the 2006. Before we do the wrap-up, I did look at all of these 2019s. I had a couple stacks of them here to see if we had the less common 16 serration variety rather than the common 14, and none of them here had the 16 serrations. So we just found the regular 14 serration version. And it's much easier just to line them up and look at them when you've got a stack of them because the 16 serration really stands out. So not this time. All right, we did a number on that $1,000 box of Toonies, and we found a lot of really cool stuff here. So I'll just go through and we'll do a little bit of a view of what we got. I just picked out some of the nicest ones of various years that could possibly upgrade my collection. I want to check and see if any of these will do that. We found a bunch of commemoratives, and some of them in really great shape. That D-Day in the front there, that Canadian Navy. Also, this Vimy one's not too bad. These ones are nicer than we normally see, and a few others. Again, we'll check against my collection. In terms of our interesting finds, we did find some varieties. So we did find this 2000 Knowledge Pedestal S with the die chip on the S, so that's really cool. I did check the only 2010 we found, and it is, in fact, the 14 serration variety. It's harder to come by, and it's in pretty good shape, too. What might be the coolest find of the day, if this can be verified, is this 1996, that could potentially be a foreign planchet. It could be that German planchet, and the tell on this is, I think more of the finish looks like it's more of a matte finish, and there are some striations that go from the top to the bottom. It's a little hard to see, but you can see maybe up by the A and the D. And it has more of a, almost like a proof type finish on the polar bear. That's what I've seen on those German planchet dollars. Hard to tell, but this 1996, regardless, is in really nice condition. And we found some color. We haven't found them on either of the videos or any of the videos I've done so far on the channel, but we found 2. We found the D-Day from 2019, and we found the 2021 Insulin, albeit it's seen better days, but it's the first one I found, so I'm happy to have gotten it. And of course, we found some more counterfeits. We got a couple of these 1996, a 2006, and a 2007. I'm going to check against the CamelToeToonies.ca website, Brent Mackey's website, to see if I got any of those die varieties, just for my own interest's sake. So that was our Toonie hunt. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a like. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Catroll Hunter, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. We'll see you again next time.